In a world where equality is just another euphemism for mediocrity, where participation is more highly valued than achievement, where just enough to get by is the new standard of excellence, there is a small minority of people who fight back against such apathy, who struggle daily to reach new heights. These brave few are the hope for the future, a bright shining light for the next generation. They are the ones who will lead us to the places we have never dreamed of, to the undiscovered country, to reach goals only a few can even begin to imagine. Unfortunately, none of those people could be here tonight, so kick back and relax. Prepare yourself for several hours of fun, friendship, fascinating conversation, and fabulous music. All those F's, that's an alliteration and kind of a radio trick. Speaking of radio, you're listening to the most popular radio station in the history of broadcast radio, at least among stations that originate from Chris's living room. It's Curious Times. Your host is a curious listener. Here she is, Chris.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Curious Times. It's Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday. It is June 13th. It's the ungodly anniversary of the day that my parents got married so many years ago. How many years ago? 52 means my brother's 53. And he's coming 54. So 54th wedding anniversary for them, I guess. How do you like them apples? And so anyway, Kathleen Moore is here. What are they? Why? I get my show going and they give me what? I just have updated my computer 6,423 effing times, right? Now we're going to make Windows better. Can I get that in writing? We'll show a reminder when we're going to do a restart. No, do not restart my effing computer. Please and thank you. I hate that. What now? How many times? Restart required. How many times does a person have to restart and get updated and everything like that? Stop. Let me change this so that it doesn't do this right now. And they got to do that. Like, could have done that 5 minutes ago before I hit the record button, you know. Could have done that then. But, oh, no, they go, oh, Chris is on the air now. Now let's send her that reminder because, you know, it makes sense to send a reminder at 15 minutes after the hour. Okay. Schedule the restart to effing never. How about that? To never. We'll start to finish installing updates when you tell us to. I'll believe that when I see pigs fly. Just turn this on and pick a time. It's off. I do not want you to. I hope that means that they'll never restart my computer. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Curious Times. It's Wednesday, June 13th, and we have Kathleen Moore here today. It's been a while, and so I'll be looking forward to finding out what Kathleen has been up to. And just to let you guys know, so we'll be off tomorrow. It's Thursdays. Thursdays are blank now that Jen Young is too busy with her activism. Very busy being an activist. So Friday, Salva's here Saturday, Kimber's here Sunday. Amy's here Monday, Diana Monroe's here Tuesday, Lisa, Nolan, Shalusky. So that's what it is. That's what's happening in the next week or so here. And but Kathleen for now is a gifted psychic medium who's been doing this forever. For, you know, not quite as long as my parents have been married, but for a long time, decades, let's say. We'll just say decades, because she's very young. She started 10 years before she got born or something like that. And so she is or was or will be or might be an ordained minister. I don't really know. And she's given thousands and thousands of readings all over the world. And she's a coach. She's a reader. She does mediumship, regular psychic stuff. She does house clearings. She does gallery readings. She does motivational speaking, but she's the rock chick, man. Like I don't know anybody that can not only find and give. She's also very kind and generous, but anybody who can make one of these out of just a rock, and put that in their tumbler and make that sucker come out like that has something going on, rock chick style. You know what I'm saying? That's my third eye. I just have to find a way to put it, to permanently affix it to my forehead. And so she does, like, she has the coolest stuff. And it's amazing. She always like oohs and ahs me whenever I see some of her stuff. And like, I gotta show you this coolest thing I ever saw in my whole life. I just have to show this to you guys. Now I wish I remembered what it was called, because I might find the picture a little bit quicker that way. But it's some kind of a geode. What kind of a geode? What could that round crystal ball geode? Maybe I called it a crystal ball geode. Crystal ball geode. Nope. That would be too easy. Crystal ball. What did you call that? You called that. There it is. Geode ball. A geode ball. So you got to check this out. If you have not ever seen this, oh my God. Now, people listening in YouTube later on, you'll be seeing our video cameras, but I don't believe you'll be seeing the pictures that I can post throughout the show. But oh my God, who has ever seen anything as gorgeous as that? Unbelievable. That's the kind of stuff that, like, people like me, I got like rocks, you know what I mean? Like, I got like, you know, stone dishes and whatnot of stones and crystals and everything like this. Which this one I tripped on something, and then this one got all wiped out and they went everywhere. And but like, people, you know, have like little stones of all kinds, like this and that and this kind. A lot of these ones that Kathleen gave me too. But anyway, but this woman here, she gets the goods, man. And so anyhow. That's a beautiful, there it is in real life. It's like a Pac-Man crystal ball geode thing. It's beautiful. I've never seen anything quite like it. And so there you go. Anyways, with all of that said, if you want to find out more about Kathleen, just head on over to her website at www.kathleenmoorepsychicmedium.com. You can find her also on Facebook, Kathleen Moore Psychic, or just Google Kathleen Moore for crying out loud. And in addition to that, she maintains office hours and has a telephone. And she allows people to call her on the telephone. So you can jot down this telephone number, 330-554-8202, and you can call her. Call her now. No, don't call her now. Don't call her after the show, because it's an ungodly hour. Call her during regular office hours. Call her tomorrow. Book your appointment, and there you go. And with all that said, unmute your damn self, Kathleen.
Hello. I love this setup. I just have to get used to it.
I know, right? It's
beautiful. I love it.
Beautiful. It's all shiny and new and everything. There's also live streaming, so I have a rule set for my show that you have to be a member of IntuiTalks in order to have the privilege and honor of being able to sit in the chat room and listen live. But now people who don't want to or can't or don't or whatever, they can go to CuriousTimes.ca, and there's a live streaming, right? Bingo, bango. They just have to hit the play button and they're getting a live stream. Also, in the old days, like last week,
in the olden times,
before the new layout, they if you had a device like a tablet or a phone, then you had to download like Dolphin or some other Flash plugin, Flash.
Well, yeah, there would be a Flash player or plugin.
Yeah, like a Flash app, a Flash app for your device. But now you don't need it. Yay! So
Oh,
anybody
I
who
didn't know that. That's cool because I can listen on my tablet then.
yeah, so you can just like bingo, you hit the link and come right on in, and it might have a slightly different appearance for you or whatever. I've never used a tablet in my life, so I haven't got a clue how any of that works. But come to the link on a tablet or a phone, and you don't have that problem anymore. And you can just like join us in the chat room just like that. So other things change. People can community draw now, as you see. Let's put that default up for now. And like you guys can now draw as much as you want, and but you have to erase your own garbage after. You know what I mean? And if anybody's being impolite, okay.
That wouldn't be me.
No,
I'm
you're
Canadian, so I'm very polite, eh?
So even when like a buddy or guy gets like totally assaulted, basically verbally and everything else all over the media, and then he's all like, like it's, I can't even remember, but I mean like he was very upset, and but it was like the American people are all like, he's very even in responding to that, he's being extremely polite. You know what I mean?
I know. It's like my husband, he was laughing. He's like, oh, he goes, all the Canadians are going to be making signs now.
I know, right?
I'm a little upset.
Yeah, we're a little bit upset, you guys, and you hurt our feelings and stuff like that. Like, couldn't we just get along a little bit better than that? You know, I felt a little defensive of poor Justin. You know what I mean? And I know that he didn't lie to nobody. Like, I guarantee you that he did not lie and he did not do that and everything else like that. So, I guarantee it.
It's deflect. That's all it is.
So anyway, we'll get over it, but we're a little bit wounded over here.
We're a little bit upset.
We wish that guy wouldn't have said that. Meanie guy wouldn't have said those bad things about our guy, but that's okay. We forgive you. We forgive you. Okay.
I just wonder if I'm going to get sent home. I mean, sent back.
Yeah. Well, that would be you'd actually kind of be lucky if that happened to you right now.
Right.
I'm just saying. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Whoa, look what you made.
I know.
This is awesome. I just moved my website over to IntuiTalks as well. I'm working on it.
Okay, stop, Chris. Stop. See, like, that's a bad thing. Like, for ADHD people like me, it's, like, really a bad thing. But anyhow, so tell me what's been going on. How's things? What's new for you?
Things are good. I've been doing some live feeds every week on my Facebook page, and I've really been connecting with a lot of clients, and I'm enjoying that, and people. Let me see, what else have I been doing? Of course, catching up with the gardening and everything because it's really warm out. I'm battling right now with the zoning, so I'm no longer allowed to see people at my office after I don't know how many years, but most of my clients, are Skype or phone anyways outside of the state and everything like that. So lots of private parties. I've been doing a lot of private parties and events. So just been really, really busy.
So some neighbor of yours ratted you out is basically what happened.
No, it was actually a new another reader. I mean, I don't want to say names or anything like that because I really truly believe that there's enough for everybody. Yeah, she was in a commercial area, and reported that she actually set up an appointment and came for a reading, and then she called the zoning because the zoning changed at the first of the year. But I don't have a sign up front or anything like that, because my clients have been coming around for so long. So she just reported it. They're really nice about it. I mean, they're working with me. They just want to make sure that I'm within the proper, doing the proper thing. I don't want to cause problems for anybody and stuff. And I think she made it like 4 or 5 weeks, and then she shut down. So I don't know if it's that she moved somewhere else or I never had a reading by her, so I can't say that if it wasn't just because she, I mean, it could be the number of reasons why she after 3 or 4 weeks of being open shut down.
Yeah.
But so I'm working on that right now, and it's going okay. The people are being really nice about it, and we're all working together with it. And but like 90% of my clients are phone and Skype anyway, so or private parties or events, so it's not really that big of a deal. I guess I don't have to worry about weeding the garden every week now. So like, well, I just figured that Spirit always puts it in the direction it's supposed to go. Been talking to Tiffany and John. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be doing some paranormal investigations at their bar. So we're going to set up a few dates with that. Might be going to Vegas in August, so I'm excited about that too.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Is that for business or pleasure?
Both. When you're in Vegas, it's both.
There you go. You find time.
Yeah. I'm going to meet with I have some friends that live out there that own some businesses, and then I'm going to do a couple events out there, but nothing big, nothing like, Caesar's Palace or anything like that. It's in somebody's basement. So it's not like a woo, it's a wow moment. My name is not going to be in lights. It's going to be in somebody's basement. So
in lights. They could just write it on a piece of paper like this and then shine the light like that.
Tie a couple balloons to the mailbox. Party here.
That'd be funny. Just a reminder, you guys that are in the chat room, that with the new changeover, because I'm able to see phone numbers now. If you want to see who's in chat, then you can just click on that options tab right beside the public button in above the chat room, and the options tab will give you a listing of those present in the chat room. And so, sorry for that little interruption. I forgot to let people know that at the top. So that's good. And are you going to take time off like this summer, like just for R&R or what?
Yeah, I decided when I went on this last little jaunt that I need to set some time aside about every 3 months. So I'm going to take a week so I can just regroup, because I was getting to a point where I was getting really tired. And trying to keep up with everything, and I wasn't doing a good job at that. I don't work well under when I burn the candle at both ends. I tend to get a positive bitchy. That's the way I'll put it. So yeah, I put some time aside. I'm not going to combine work with pleasure during that time. When I take my holidays, that's when I'm going to. It'll be just 4 holidays.
Perfect. Good for you. Good for you. Make sure that you do that on your time and not my time, okay?
Yeah. Well, every now and then it does fall on your time. I know that's horrible, because every time I've done, I'm like, oh no, I had to cancel my trip.
No, I'm totally teasing. I'm totally teasing, so it's quite good, quite all right. It's been a little bit chilly here, and like seriously speaking, the other day, for like a couple of days in the past 3 days, my furnace has even been on, and I have it set low. So like if I if I had it set to the temperature that the furnace should kick on in the wintertime, the furnace would have been on like for the past few days. Like, it's just been brutal. It's the middle of freaking June, man. I do not want to have to be paying for my furnace to be on right now. Jeez.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw that one of the mountains had like a bunch of snow on it too. That's pretty freaking scary, if you ask me. But as an environmentalist and somebody that has a background in wildlife and environmental science, that's really, really scary.
So I did a little bit of digging today into the pot laws, like where are things at, you know what I mean? Because they were supposed to be ready for her for around July. And they put it through, I think it's the Senate or wherever they had the House or through, whoever the hell they had to put it through. And they approved it, but with several changes. There's a better word for it. And one of those changes is that to allow provinces to ban people growing it in their own home. That sucks.
Yeah, I don't. That's so they can tax it and can control it.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But you know, I was hoping to be on the. You know, if I was going to do this, then I wanted to try to just grow some. You know what I mean? Right. And I can't afford to be running out and spending money on that kind of stuff right now, which is why I quit several years ago, legal or illegal. You know what I mean? Right. And but now I don't want to also have the extra stress of it being illegal. You know what I mean? And
right,
so,
absolutely.
So I hope that they don't hold this up forever. That's them freaking right wingers. You know what I mean? Seriously. And it's like so disappointing that they're gonna like dick around with this thing by now, and you know, anyway, we'll see what happens with it. But looks like they're like, and then like they're if Trudeau goes for that, then the provinces need a few months to be ready for being able to sell or whatever. I came across this TV show on I don't know if it's the History Channel or what, but it's like these guys in Kelowna, and it's like called Bud King or I don't know Bud something or something. I like that, so I just found it today. So I watched the first 4 episodes or something like that, and we're like, and then like so they hired somebody to go work, and one of their rules was, can you think and work and be effective, if you're high. And I'm all like, I could do that.
Perfect job. Yeah, that's like BC gold they're growing there.
Like I did it for 40 years. You know what I mean? Like I can totally function. Although with it being this many years since I smoked any pot, like I'd probably be all like totally freaking useless. But
no, just pass me some cookies.
And but anyhow, I look forward to this more progressive time. That's hopefully within a year everything will be all settled, dust will be settled, and everything will be a go. And I wish they wouldn't do that. I would even if they reduce it, like right now they've set it for you could grow 4 plants at home. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I've reduced it then to 1 or 2. I would right. Be with that, right? Because we're 1 per person or something like that. You know what I mean?
I honestly don't know how they could keep up with it. If you really think about it, the way the main industry is with it and stuff, I just don't know how they would, the resources it would take to.
But they wouldn't actively come after you, Kathleen.
Right.
But let's say, let's say that my house got broken into or something. Now I don't want to call the police because now I got this whole. So I either have to destroy my grow op, right?
Right.
Right, or have the police come and investigate this crime that was perpetrated against me, right? Or what if my house catches on fire and it's totally it's not. It's because my Christmas tree did something bad or something, right? Like, or for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying?
Good point, yeah.
Then it's just a thing that they have, that they can tack onto you or something like that, Sure. And so not that they would be actively kicking in doors or something like that, but it would just be a thing that would be, if you had to have let's say the police were doing a house-to-house search for some guy that was on the run or something like that, right?
It's true, yeah.
So that's kind of it, and like that's going back to making criminals out of people that really aren't criminals,
Right.
And and that's disappointing if it winds up, going that way. Then I have to say that I would probably not, I mean, I couldn't see myself going to the expense of buying equipment and stuff that you would need, you know what I mean, to do a proper, job of it, and be in against the law, right? So I couldn't see myself really doing that. But I wish they'd get their shit together and like go and deal with the serious stuff that's going on out there, man.
That's what I mean. It's like, but you're right. I never thought about. See, I don't think in those terms, and I would have never thought about, somebody breaking in the house and stuff like that. But I live in America, so anybody breaks into my house, they're
America.
gonna get shot.
You shoot, shovel, and we had a premier here one time called Ralph Klein. He was a total creep, jerk, asshole. But a lot of the right wing people loved him, and so he got elected a lot. But he used to be like the mayor of Calgary and all that kind of thing. He was witnessed like punching his wife in the face, and he still got it in a bar, and he still got elected after that. And he still got elected after that. Drunk guy. And then here's a guy. He goes downtown. He's half cut. And he's like goes downtown and then he starts bad mouthing at the homeless people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then after he dismantles our healthcare system, like he gets drunk and falls in his hot tub and hurts a rib, and gets front of the line hospital assistance or something like this at the hospital that he's demolished basically, right?
Right.
But anyway, why was I talking about him? Why was I talking about Ralph Klein? He got caught. He got caught saying like it was during the mad cow disease problem.
Oh yeah.
Like this is a serious thing, right? And of course, like a cattle problem is harmful to Alberta. You know what I mean? Like Alberta is oil and cattle, basically, right?
Right.
And so he was caught like saying, because somebody reported, foot and mouth disease or something like this, the mad cow disease. And he's like, he got caught saying like really bad mouthing these people that are reporting that their own cows are, because it brings about a quarantine. And then it further restricts, then all of a sudden other countries are like, no Canadian beef, you know what I mean? And that kind of thing, right?
Right. I remember all that, yeah.
So he was caught saying, these people should shoot, shovel, and shut up. So like he would rather that they just kill the cow, bury the cow, and say nothing.
Right.
It's okay if a bunch of infected meat, poisons the whole freaking world or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he doesn't want his buddies, in the cattle industry being hurt by these, inconveniences, And so shoot, shovel, and shut up. So that's what I hear they do in Florida to you. If you're like, if someone wants to stand their ground, they do. They just shoot you. So anyway. Okay. So now, what else are we? What should we talk about? Want to talk about anything spiritual?
Well, I think everything we were just talking about is spiritual. The world's in an evolution. I mean, everything that's going on right now is part of that evolution.
Nothing more spiritual than pot and the legal right to smoke it.
Well, I think that, everything combined together, that even the overwhelming sadness that people are feeling and environmental issues that are going on and laws changing and people, speaking their truth, even though a lot of it turns out to be what they call Facebook wars. It's actually getting people talking. And I think we're in an evolution. I think this is our storm before the calm. And the spiritual revolution started 6 years ago. I mean, it's been around for a lot longer, but it became very mainstream about 5 or 6 years ago. Everybody started questioning the organized religion, started questioning organizations that put rules and caps on love and that kind of stuff. And I really believe that we're in, I don't want to say the free love revolution, because I don't think that's being repeated, but it's being revisited to a point where we're understanding that love's limitless. So, and for years we were taught we have to put a cap on that. So people aren't taking the problems, they're not taking everything at face value, like they're voicing their opinions. So I think we're definitely in an evolution, and we're seeing a lot of talented spiritual people coming about, because they're here to teach and we're here to help. And there's more of us than there are of them now, where before it was the other way around, right?
I got it. Now you made me want to play this so let me go find this. I happened to so I kind of lied, because I actually happened to pop up. I was looking for something on Facebook, and then I came across this. So but I don't actively go and follow people's feeds and all that kind of stuff. But so
right.
Anyhow, I came across this, and I gotta say, like, this is like a little 4-year-old girl or something. Let me just find this. And it's amazing. Like, and the kid is like talking to the mother about. It sounds to me like mommy and daddy fight a lot or something like that. You know
right.
what I mean? And so here's this little kid. And there's no way that this is a scripted thing, because how little the kid is and that kind of thing. But like this is so awesome. And if more adults would feel this way, if more adults would have this opinion or these feelings, then what a better world this would be. So here, check this out.
Are you ready to be his friend?
Yes.
Try not to be that high up to be friends. I want everything to be low. Okay?
Okay.
Just try your best. I don't want you and my dad to be replaced and me again. I want you and my dad to be placed as settled and be friends. I'm not trying to be mean. I just want everyone to be friends. And if I can be nice, I think all of us can be nice too. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm trying to do my best in my heart. Nothing else than that. I want you, Mom, my dad, everyone to be friends. I want everyone to be smiling, not like being mad. I want everything to smile. Especially when I see someone, I want them to smile. Especially Nana, everyone. I want everyone to smile. And if that's for my dad and you, Mom, I think you can do it. I think you can settle your mean height down a little to short height. Then it's both, okay? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be a bully. I'm trying to be steady on the floor, not way down, on straight, on the middle where my heart is. My heart is something. Everyone else's heart is something too. And if we live in a world where everyone's being mean, everyone's going to be a monster in their future. What if there's just a little bit of persons and we will eat them, then no one will ever be here. Only the monsters in our place. We need everyone to be a person. Everyone, including me and my mom, everyone. I just want everything to be settled down. Nothing else. I just want everything to be good as possible. Nothing else.
So here, let me see if this is.
Thank you, Tana.
Let me see if I get you guys a direct link to this.
That's really, that's what I'm saying. I think that we're in this revolution and this evolution that's happening. Amy once said one night when we were all in chat, it was just totally, it really resonated deeply with me. Amy said sometimes people would rather be right than be happy. And that resonated very deeply with me because I really truly feel that some people do get so stuck on that, with this split and what's going on right now. But where does a 4-year-old come up with some of the words that she had and everything? So that's the divine speaking through a pure child. And children are born happy, they're born loving. We're the ones that teach them, hey, you have to earn it. And love it has a limit. We put it in a jar, we put a lid on it. We're like, oh, you can only have so much of it. And kids are like, what do you mean? It's that's something that they're just born happy. Very few aren't. But it's amazing. I've seen that video before. It brings tears to your eyes because it's so much wisdom in a 4-year-old, and everybody around it can't figure it out. So
yeah. Well, and like I used to say, if every person would make it their mission every day when they wake up to not intentionally do anything to hurt anybody else.
Right.
There you go. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. Like if it all has to start with each individual, you know what I mean? And I've said before, start in your home and then in your community, in your city, and blah, blah. But if every single person would just do that one thing, then what a great, because so much of what happens is cause and effect, right?
Yes.
And so somebody wakes up, somebody that's already unhappy with themselves, let's say it's a teenager, a kid or whatever, or an asshole boss or a coworker that's completely miserable with their life and jealous of other people. They're already waking up and they're thinking already about like when they see this person or that person and what they're going to do to them or say to them to make them feel bad or to make them feel embarrassed, and the person on the receiving end of that can and will usually only take so much before there's an effect on them that then gets the ripples go out from them then. You know what I mean? And, a lot of these shooters or whatever, these kids, like it's like they're bullied, and not saying that's an excuse at all. That's not what I'm saying. But like, when people are, constantly being wounded in any way, physical, emotional, psychologically, then, this is going to have a destructive effect on them. And then they're going to be, many times, they're going to become destructive forces in the world. And then they're going to go affect 10 people, and those 10 people will go affect 10 people. If every single person could wake up every day and just go like, I'm going to make it my mission today to not intentionally, like we all are going to hurt someone's feelings by accident, or we're going to say something that we didn't realize, or whatever. I'm talking about like the intentional, premeditated,
malicious intent. Yeah, the malicious intent that some people have. Like some people have, they get. I feel malicious intent comes from jealousy. I think jealousy is the one emotion that humans cannot get a grip on. It's the only emotion they can't get a grip on. And when it starts to rear its ugly head, and people say, well, if that's the case, I'm not a jealous person. But that's because you've come to a place in peace in your heart with your kindness for yourself. It doesn't have anything to do with outside of yourself. You come to terms with the jealousy that you feel within yourself. Like some people say, well, why does success come to some people and not to others? Why, when am I going to get my break? Well, when you're doing that kind of thought process, that's a jealousy issue that isn't based on their success. You're not saying, oh, they don't deserve to be successful. You're saying, why don't I have the same success? And I'm just using that as an example. And that's a jealousy of not of their success, but of that, their things aren't happening in the way you picture them in your head. But jealousy is the one emotion people can't get a grip on, and it creates, an avalanche effect once it gets started. I really.
And the same can happen. The really crazy thing is the same can happen on the other side of the coin, which is that usually if somebody's smiling, it makes someone else smile, and makes someone else smile, and makes someone else smile, and it's easier, like if people could like figure that part out, it's easier.
Right.
Like it's easier. And when I see that video, like that's what I don't cry, but I smile. And it's a beautiful thing to see, and these are, and like these are things and thoughts that maybe someone like myself as a little kid would have on my mind, but wouldn't dare say it, to a parent,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that these kids can just come up with this stuff and just speak it, you know what I mean? And sometimes coming from the kids is what makes adults stop and go, wow, you know what I mean? And I want to be like that kid, you know what I mean? Instead of a kid going,
it's reconnecting with your sense of wonder too. It's reconnecting with your sense of wonder. Kids have a sense of wonder, and it's right or wrong. There's no gray area. There's no, we see people that start to get divorced, and the kids are put in the middle, and I'm like, you could be great parents and be a crappy couple. And sometimes kids also rule the roost, though, to the point where, kids sometimes can't wrap their head around an adult relationship because they've never been in one with all the stressors of society. And society means mortgage payments and soccer games and, work and careers and stuff like that. So if we could learn from them and remember to tap into our sense of wonder and take our breaks from that daily grind, we learn a lot. That's part of the reason why I used to love being a naturalist so much, because I every day when I went to the parks and I had those education programs for kids, I got to see the world through new eyes again every time. Like I would dig up a salamander from underneath a rock, and these kids were like, "Oh, that's the coolest thing ever!" And I'm thinking, well, it's just a salamander. But then I'm like, you know what? It is the coolest thing ever. So it was really awesome to see. And I think that, kids in the raw, where they're not in that structured, this is what you have to do at 8:00. This is what you have to do at 9:00. When kids are just allowed to have that sense of wonder and open it up, it does remind us as adults, what we're not seeing. I mean, for her to say the whole world and in my heart is this. I mean, that's a divine intervention. That's coming from a divine child.
Don't be up here and don't be down here, and then but be in the middle where my heart is. Like that. That's awesome. Like so awesome. And yeah, she's completely channeling. To me, it seems like like I say, especially if you watch it. Like, there's no way this is a scripted, some people do that with their kids. They get them all scripted up and they practice it over and over because they want to have a viral video with their kid or something. You know what I mean? It's not what this is at all. It's just, it reminded me of there was that video that also was viral that was, the little kid is telling the mother, like, I do not want to eat this meat. This meat was an animal. You know what I mean? And and they go all on about, about the animals and everything like that. And like, don't kill the chickens and don't kill the cows and don't kill you know what I mean? And, just beautiful. And it made the mother, it made the mother cry, and she's all right. Okay. No. You know what I mean? And how many parents are like, you'll eat what I put in front of you, you won't eat it all. You know what I mean? Like, they don't like take any time to listen to the kid or feel what the kid is, trying to say. And I want to like say that any parents, because this isn't necessarily a generational thing. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so, like, any parents who, will treat their child like an equal in that way, which is somebody that is allowed to express their feeling or their thought,
Mhm.
without fear that there's going to be some, terrible punishment or
Retribution, right.
smackdown that's going to happen. Respect these. Respect that you don't have to like let the kid run the house or something, but like at least hear what the kid has to say. Don't shut them up. Don't shut them down. And sometimes they do. They bring you right back down to grounded. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I have I have a ton of clients that come in, that I've had the discussion on several occasions where people are like, well, the generation of millennials are lazy and this is this and this is that. And I said, well, I see that with a catch-22. I do feel that some of them don't have the work ethic that the generation before had. But at the same time, are we the ones that really fucked them? Because we always said, you know what, don't work at McDonald's. You're too good for that job. Our parenting from our generation or my generation was, you're too good for McDonald's. You don't want to work that hard. You need an education. You need to go and do this. You need to do that. And then we sat back and we're like, oh, they're so lazy. They won't get a job. And here we condition them, not forgetting, don't work at McDonald's. You're too good for that. But they don't have any working skills. So, you have to work your way up and get skills. So we unintentionally screwed them, and I think this new generation, the 20-somethings and younger, they're changing the world. They're here to change the world. What we perceive to be laziness is, them finally, waking up and saying, well, what do you mean I'm too special for that? Now I don't have any money, and now you're telling me that I have to get out and I have no life skills. And then the ones that do are coming out of university with $300,000 in debt. And that's absolutely unacceptable in my mind. So,
well, remain professional students and never, you know what I mean?
Right.
But either way, every generation has had, it's just like anything else. All cops
sure,
are not
and
bad.
it turns and
all all of it, like there's good people and bad people in every sector, in every age
Sure.
group, in every nationality, every religious, everything, and it's just, we have to stop that generalizing. It's not unlike, oh, you're a Sagittarian, that means you're blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? And like I hate being defined by what somebody's limited understanding of horoscopes is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it drives me insane. And so, and the other thing is, if you're starting that at a young age, like you're pigeonholing kids at that, they're going to start, like as that saying goes, like people will achieve whatever, however high you set the bar. So if you set the bar way down there, you're not doing them any favor. So if you're already starting off by telling them, you're all a bunch of lazy bums, you know what I mean? And you hear that enough, then that's gonna affect a certain group of those people in that category. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, and it's just like, when I really enjoy interacting with people on my Facebook page and on my Instagram, because I'll post some things and sometimes I'll get a comment on it like, I don't feel this, you put some positive, or those, the things that say don't give up and all that kind of stuff. And you really realize how that sometimes just posting that positive energy can bring it in. And it's much easier. It's much less stressful to be happy. It's much less stressful to wake up and be in a good mood. And if you've had a bad day, to say, I've had a bad day, and let people throw good positive energy at you. But it always amazes me, because there's always one, and it's always somebody that's in the spiritual community that will make a comment about, this isn't how it really works, but they'll post the same thing on theirs. So it strikes me as odd sometimes when you're putting, it's okay that people don't always agree with what, I'm just saying from my experience what I'm posting, but when there's 5 or 6 that are giving positive reinforcement, I have seen so much amazing energy come out of those pages. When I'll post something and somebody says, well, I don't feel like this right now and I'm having a really rough time, all these other people come in and say, it'll be okay. They start to boost each other up. So, and I think that we do rely on the social media a lot in place of, we're so connected, we're disconnected. But when it comes to things like that, I really truly believe that sometimes, there's a stranger that throws a lifeline out. Like, I feel really, really connected to you, yet I've never met you in person. But I feel like I've known you for years and years and years and years. And now it's actually been years now, which freaks me out because,
Well,
but
it's like a lifetime.
yeah. So it's, but to have this, everybody talks about how it's not the real emotion and stuff like that, but it is. I mean, I've met some very, very connected people through that, and it just always amazes me that some people, they'll see this posting and then they'll feel the need to say, well, then this happens, or okay, well, I don't believe that. But then if somebody reaches out to them, they change their tune pretty quickly. But I've been really enjoying that connection. I mean, a lot of my closest friends I've met from, like, friends unmet, when they were online. Then when I meet them, I got a picture of them. I'm like, look, a friend unmet met. So.
Well, I mean, it's a good and a bad thing, this internet, but I mean, in real life, people come and go from our lives. We have fights with people. We don't talk to them. Like, it's no. But it seems to me that like, you can have exposure to more people online at one time in a short period of time than necessarily getting around to visit all your girlfriend, I shouldn't say real friends, but your real life friends, or your whatever,
right,
whatever you want to use to that. And you get around to doing in-person visits with people or something like that, and so it gives you a chance to get in trouble more often, or not, or make more friendships more quickly, and it doesn't make them any less, like, hey, listen, we all know, and we can pretty much figure it out, right? Like, eventually, it doesn't usually take too long before we figure out the ones online that are, you know what I mean, not genuine and this kind of thing. And but there's some solid, good people that we never ever could have met, but for the internet, and in particular this group or whatever, like all of us, without these radio shows or whatever, would never have met each other. And
yeah, it definitely brings people together. And I think sometimes it just like anything, before the internet, you would meet people that you didn't know before anyway, whether it was at work or a function or going out or, that kind of stuff. It's like you literally met people the same way. So it just gives you more people at your fingertips. But I definitely feel like I think that being very supportive of each other, like you said, it's so much easier to be happy. It's so much easier to be supportive. It's like I was listening to Shelby's show the other night, and she's got this beautiful radiant energy about her, and it just radiates when she's on.
Well, because what it is she's not putting on any airs. She's being herself. She's a right down to earth, regular person that's not trying to put on a show or be someone else.
She's just being very authentic.
Authentic, and that's one thing that people. You're gonna get me privately, I'm not going to be any different than I am on my show, except I'm
Yeah.
going to say the F word a lot more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In private, I say the F word a lot more. But I'm not like suddenly, certainly show my bad moods and my, all my warts and everything else. I'm not trying to put on any fake anything when I do my show. And things that irritate me, I don't hide very well. And things that make me happy, I don't hide very well. I show my range of emotions and who I am, and people like that, and over the years, those are the people that stick with you, basically,
Yeah, I
and
agree. And I'd like to see, I really, truly, truly believe, and I've said it every time. I truly believe there's enough for everybody. I don't understand the concept of there's not enough for everybody. Now, I do think that some people are in it for different reasons, and that's not just this. That's with anything. That's, and everybody has different goals or end goals or whatever you want to say, and I think the internet has opened the spiritual community immensely. Just even like I said, just in the last 5 or 10 years, it's become very mainstream. But it's because people, like-minded people, are able to connect on shows like this, on other platforms, as Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, whatever. All of them, I'm kind of like a technology impaired, but it just it brings a whole spiritual community together that otherwise would have a slow movement. The amount of movement that's just been in the last 5 years with the spiritual community gives me great hope, and so I think that there's 3 things that's limitless, and that's hope, love, and faith. So, and everybody's view on love is different. It's not, it doesn't have to be the same. That's what makes it limitless. And then with hope and faith, faith is not necessarily organized religion. And I'm not saying that organized religion, it doesn't have a place, because it does. We all have this amazing history of connection to the divine. So it's pretty amazing how it all works. And I'm pretty blessed to be in it. This is a great community. Like I said, there was several times, between Corrine and Amy and Shelby and Renee and yourself and a couple other people, there's things that have been very profound that have been said that have really resonated very deeply with me. Like, I quote you all the time. I'm like, we come from a long line of dead people. It was such a simple sentence. And all those years, I was like, how do I describe it to people? And you said it, and you're like, oh, we all come from a long line of dead people.
But that wasn't mine either. I think that I might have got that from Amy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but the point is, we, without this, that's what shows us a different, without that, all we see is what's here, and we don't see, and we don't get exposed to other thoughts and ideas and everything else like that. And so, so when we pick up on something, you know what I mean? Like, that's where we pick up our little jewels, and if we, like, this internet has allowed us to expand our reach in that way and gain access to other people. So, so let's take a song break, and then well, look, we have a new listener. Yay! Hello, Tina. Tina can't hear me. Can someone? Maybe Tina called in. Let me see. No, I don't think Tina called in. Can someone help Tina type into the chat room for her to click the telephone at the top middle of the thing and then pick listen only, and that will give her sound, and that would be helpful. In the meanwhile, I'm going to toss a song on, and then we'll come back and let's see where we go. Other people, feel free to call in and jump in on a conversation or whatever. You know what I mean? So here we go. I haven't played Ozzy Osbourne in a few years, and there's a reason for it. But I've decided if I like a song, I'm going to play the song, because now I'm not This used to be a song that a listener used to always like love Ozzy Osbourne and blah blah blah, and this person like totally burnt us all. And so I banned Ozzy Osbourne from my show for that reason. But it's time to listen to Ozzy again.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Are you looking for a place to meet like-minded people? Perhaps you're a light worker looking for a safe place to share your thoughts and services. We've got a place for you. IntuiTalks.com. Join for free, post updates, blogs, create and join groups via website or radio or class package. The possibilities are endless. Join the all-spiritual, all-under-one roof network, www.IntuiTalks.com.
All right, we're back. Welcome back. I'll do a quick shout out and thank everybody who's here. I'm going to guess that 630, is that you, Amy? 630? I now have area codes. And I don't have to no longer say
yes,
this
it
person.
Is me. Yes,
okay.
It is me.
Okay,
and I would like
you.
a reading when we get to that point.
I did notice that. That's why I assumed it was you. Amy is there. Bama, Breeze, and Diane in Canada. How are you, Diane? Kathleen, of course, is our guest. Marie, how are you? You're so quiet. What are you busy working at, Marie? Show yourself, for crying out loud. And Rachel, very nice to see you here also. And some anonymous person at the bottom of the board. So you already know who that is, Kathleen?
No, Tina. I think Tina was somebody from my page that was asking when I give free mini readings. So I told her that I was on tonight and posted it on my page.
She's not here anymore, so
yeah,
I don't know.
You probably talked too long, but that's fine.
This is my birth son, and this is his son. And so he's a good-looking dude, hey, that I made.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking dude. So I finally, after all these years, I finally found like a full, proper face picture of this kid. And
the little one looks just like you in the face.
I think he looks a lot like me, very much.
He does,
like,
yeah.
And so anyway, there you go. I didn't think you were here that night that I posted that. So there you go. Okay, let's go get Amy then. And pitter patter. Hi, Amy. Thank you for calling in.
Oh, sure. Anything for the cause. Anything for the cause. Anyway.
Just like Amy, so long ago, Amy, like one of the best things Amy ever, like anything for Curious Times. And I'm all like, oh, like that really touched me. So anyway, and she's been
it's like those people, you know, like the Japanese, like when you see like a Japanese person that's life and then they like run around after you for the rest of your life. David, that's kind of it. And there's not that many people on that list, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Because, as we know, humans by design are just so flawed.
Isn't that true?
And I guess that's the thing. It's funny. Okay, so this is my question. We can do like a half reading, half discussion, a discussion reading hybrid.
Okay.
My question, because I have been, you see, I'm not depressed. Like Prozac depressed. I'm just
overwhelmed,
like
depressed.
So many of us, just over it, uninspired, you know. I don't. So anyway, let me move this for the sake of radio. Let me move this forward. So I started therapy today. I started therapy today. Which for me is like a really, really, I mean, I must be, the problem is, unlike Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade and all those lucky ducks, I know that I can't kill myself. I know, I've talked about this before. I feel like I've killed myself in past lives. I've tried to kill myself in this lifetime. And one thing I've learned is that I just can't, it's just real clear to me. It came to me very clearly when I was going through my cancer treatments that it's just not an option. So I explained, you know, God bless the therapist who gets, you know, because I don't talk to her much different than I talk to y'all. So I'm there like, well, the bad news is that I said, I'm not suicidal because I know that I can't kill myself. I mean, I wish I had that, in my toolbox as a range of options. And she got that. And when she got that, I somewhat trusted her.
Mm-hmm.
But where am I going with all this? I'm just generally uninspired. I'm just generally uninspired. It's like, sure, like I go do fun things every now and then, and and I enjoy. I told the lady, I'm like, I treat my entire life like Tinder. I can't even buy a car. I can't buy a car. I can't buy a house. I go to work whenever I feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not committed to a single thing. And she thought that was pretty funny too. She goes, "You're going to be a really difficult client because you're so entertaining. It's going to be easy for me to just get caught up in the, like, yeah, you're right. Like, you shouldn't even be here."
You are very entertaining, but at the same time, it's almost like an overwhelming.
Because it comes from just overwhelming something or other. It's not sad. I'm not sad. It's like I'm past sad. I'm just like, it's just overwhelming.
Indifference.
Overwhelming. Right, exactly.
That's
because,
that's
it would take overwhelming indifference to vote for Donald Trump. And I told her that. I said, and then to make matters worse, I'm a Republican, so everyone hates me. She's like, "You're a Republican?" She was so that took up half the session. Like, how can you be a Republican? I was like, because when it was my turn to get free shit, I didn't get any. And she looks at me like, and I said, and I also think Putin and Trump are talking to good aliens. Anyway, she's just looking at me like, wow, I just won.
Like we have a lot of work to do, right?
So where this fits into, where the psychic comes in, is what are you picking up energetically with my relationship with this new person in my life?
There's a couple of things I pick up on it. Like, I really felt like when you were talking about, like, you're not sad. I haven't felt sadness from you in a long time, except when you're absorbing through your empath abilities. And we all know that you have very, very strong empath abilities. And I think that things have gotten so, the last year or 2 years, there's been so many very prominent figures committing suicide or overdoses that we're becoming very numb to it. Like, everybody's sad for a couple of days, but we're becoming very numb to it, especially the fact that there's so much out there. And if you, I mean, going to therapy, I've been going for years. I think it's a great thing. I'm not somebody that's ever going to say to somebody, don't go to therapy. Now, you obviously, just like your intuitive counselor or your spiritual counselor, you want to find somebody that you're connecting with. And it sounds to me like you found somebody that you're connecting with. Now, as far as relationships go, I see that I feel excitement coming, and I feel like a relationship is moving in a pretty positive direction. But you're so I still feel like there's this plexiglass wall up. I call it the plexiglass wall, because when I see it psychically, it's like you can see each other, you can put your hands up to each other, but there's this plexiglass, this thin plexiglass that stops you from fully connecting. And I don't know if that's from everything that you've been through.
That's from the losses. The losses.
Yeah, and I feel that's
try to, I can't even handle a car breaking down, because it
Right.
would be like another loss, like another death. So
Right.
I avoid it by just renting cars, and then I avoid it, losing a friend by not having any friend openings, and I'm just structured my life in such a way where I'm just kind of an observer, just kind of passing through, the mysterious person that just passes through. I felt myself getting too close to the woo-woo people here, so I backed off, and
Right.
I just I keep everybody
At arm's length.
At arm's length.
Yeah, and grief can be crippling, and I see a lot of people, not just you, but people will do that. They're like, I don't want to get hurt again. I've had too many losses. I don't want to get hurt again. And as an empath, you feel things 10 times more raw. It's not that somebody that hasn't had the same losses doesn't feel it as raw. It's just that you feel the loss of your loss and everybody else that had the same loss. So you're feeling it on all different levels. So the protection thing is I'm going to not let anybody close. Unfortunately, I've always seen a relationship for you. I don't know how many readings that you and I have done together, but when we talk, I'm like, well, you think that you won't let anybody in, but sometimes somebody weasels in. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a deep romantic relationship, but it shows that somebody gets in that you really, really care about. And I don't necessarily think it's always going to end in crippling grief. As for commitment to the car and stuff, I can kind of get, it's funny that you said that, because the other day, a lady said to me, she looked at me and she's like, oh my gosh, your tattoos are so beautiful. I'm not brave enough to do that. And I said, well, yeah, I might have gone a little overboard. And she started laughing. She says, no, you have no fear of commitment. I don't have a tattoo, because she goes, I'm afraid of commitment. And she's like, I won't get a tattoo because I'm afraid I'll change my mind about the commitment to it. And I said, well, most of these have been covered up 2 or 3 times. So our commitment changes. So, there's definitely, I feel that this relationship is moving forward. And I think that despite yourself, you're enjoying it. It is giving you something to look forward to every day. I don't know why I see it every day. So I don't know if that's
no, because I said, well, how about if I just come once a month? And she was like, well, how about if you come every week? I'm like, I can't afford every week. And she goes, well, we're just going to set it up where you can't afford every week. I'm like, whatever. Okay. So I am proud of myself because I hate therapy, and I mostly hate therapists. I think they're unhealed healer,
Right.
I have the same disdain for therapists that I have for most mediums, that I think that they're unhealed healers.
Right.
But so for me to A, have gone, B, I was supposed to go on Monday, and she had some disconnect and had to cancel, and I didn't use that as an excuse to get out, because I don't, this I'd rather be right than happy thing that you brought up before.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way I've structured my life is quite ingenious.
Mm-hmm.
Just structuring it in a way where I can avoid any future abandonment, whether I'm abandoned by a car or a
right. You're always in the driver's seat.
Or a pair of shoes, or a house,
mm-hmm.
or a person. But at the same time, I'm just not happy. I'm entertained,
mm-hmm.
but I'm entertained, and I'm, whatever, and I'm busy.
You're entertained, but you're very, very bored. And I think that you need relationships not to be bored, because you're a nurturer and a healer yourself. When we talk about the unhealed healer, you have a lot. When you say that, I can't even commit to a car. Well, yeah, I mean, there's ways around that now where you're committing to you commit to transportation, though. You still get to work every day. You still find another mode of transportation. So we all think that we're in at the helm of the ship, we're in the driver's seat, when we don't realize that there's synergy going around us at all times. So even if it's an Uber driver, It's still you relying and committing on getting to work, to and from work, and what you want to do every day. So, and
Yeah,
then
and then
some
I thought,
people,
like, yeah, and then I was getting to this place with the Uber drivers. It was like, see, I'm not isolated. I
Mhm.
talk to Uber drivers.
right.
It's not like I'm just some, I'm not isolated, but I'm some other, disconnected.
Hmm. I don't think you
Um,
want to be anymore.
it's just not sustainable. It's
Well,
just
and I
not
think it was
sustainable. It's
sustainable
just
when you're,
so like, there's just no there's no thing. I don't
reward.
even feel that. I don't even feel like I listen to other people talk about their grandkids. I listen to people like Mary Margaret and Jen Young talk about their grandkids. Like with such like, oh, my little bubbles and blossoms, and I'm just like, yeah, I have some grandkids. They're cute.
Well,
Whatever.
you're kind of like
I have
me.
some
I'm like,
kids.
I'm
I have
not
some
that kind of
kids.
grandma either.
I have some kids. They're successful. I
Mhm.
have whatever. I have a mother. I can't wait till she dies, but then I'm already anticipating her grief. It's just like I'm just so not
One of
I'm
the
just so not
things
functioning.
one
Like
of
it's
the things that I
normal.
notice that that comes to me, not psychically, is when you talk about your mom and getting ready for that grief and stuff like that, there is a lot of people that grieve the death of someone in their life before the death comes, because that's coming. I mean, death is inevitable, but when we have broken relationships, or the psychic connection just isn't there, because sometimes there's souls in our families that just don't connect. We're taught society wise that we have to connect, and like you used to say, our souls just don't connect. So
But now
there
they
was,
kind of do. But now, you see, now they kind of do. And I
right.
see the spiritual purpose of the whole thing. But like this therapist said, because I was talking about how I get so confused, because it's like, she costs me $3,000 a month. So it would be, so I can't, in a way, I can't wait for her to die. But then at the same time, I still grieve her. And she's like, that's perfectly normal. $3,000 a month is a lot of money, even if you make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that realizing that an 89-year-old woman is going to die is like that's a reasonable thing. That's like a
Right.
mature, that's like a emotion, that's like someone that has high emotional intelligence, instead of someone who walks around totally dumbfounded, like, my mom, she died, how did this happen? It happened because she was fucking old.
Right,
I'm sorry.
exactly.
It happened because it was supposed to happen. It was her time to go. It's not like, she's
Right.
30 years old and got hit by a bus. She had lived her life, and and it was time to go. So
Right.
anyway, so it all seems. But I was just curious as to whether you picked up if I am.
I think you're letting go of
if
crippling
I'm
grief.
committed to this, and B, if it's going to
The answer is yes. I think that you're letting go of crippling grief. I don't think you would have gone to therapy if you hadn't turned that corner on your own. And I do see that there's going to be some relationships that you'll eliminate because you've outgrown them, and they'll catch up. I think those people will catch up. But I think your crippling grief is manageable. And when I call it crippling, when you can't commit to a car or shoes or whatever, house, that kind of thing. Personally, I think the house thing in this day and age, it's probably going to save you a lot of agony in the end. But I really truly think that you've turned you've turned the corner of that crippling grief. I mean, you've had a lot of loss, and you've taken care of people and helped their transition with their loss as well. And I think that you're going in a whole new direction. If you're asking me if I think psychically, if you're going to follow through with this, absolutely. If you don't let other people talk you out of it.
Right, which is real easy to do, because if you talk to anybody, they're like, oh, therapy, it's a waste of money, blah, 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 blah. So,
I love my therapist. Him and I joke about it. I'm like, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be able to have your second home in Hawaii. And he's like, well, we're not quite there yet. We still got another 2 years. So, we make a joke about it. And I think that therapy is a very healthy thing for people. But again, you have to find somebody that you feel connected to and resonates with you. And I think that you have relief. I think you met somebody that gave you that relief tonight. There's no judgment. There's no somebody that's going through the same crippling grief that aggravates it, because misery loves company. So having somebody to talk to that's unbiased, who doesn't always connect to the raw emotion of it the same way, helps. And
yeah,
I think you're right.
She's also sufficiently flattered, because she said, you remind me of Shirley MacLaine. So I was like, okay, that was just her. I said, you're just saying that so I'll come back next week. But anyway.
I love Shirley MacLaine. I'd go back too.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, anything else? Pick up anything else in the
I'm actually picking up that there's going to be some changes at work coming up too, that will create a little bit of stress for a short spell.
Mm-hmm.
But then it passes really quick, and then there's going to be some major changes. And I'm also seeing another, I'm seeing a lot of light around your mother. So I don't necessarily think that means she's getting ready to pass, but there is a huge amount of light around her right now. Did she have a rough weekend this last weekend?
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, and Rachel wants a reading, so let's wrap this up. But yes, there was a little, because I went to go see her. She had a stroke a couple of months ago, and she's less. She's less because of it. It's a really hard time walking on. We have to get her an electric. Call it an electric chair, but I think we're supposed to call it an electric wheelchair. So, I think that then also there was, because, this weekend was the Belmont, and my father's house was like a half a block from Belmont Racetrack. So, that I think brought her some, because, it was like, we were assisted living. They were having, of course, they bring out the liquor, and we were having a Belmont. It's Kentucky, so all they care about is basketball and horse racing. So it was this big to do, and she was excited about it. But I get it that I think that if she's hanging on because there is, and I get a feeling from someone else, because I have this friend that I know from a band that is psychic. In fact, like the night Keith died, he called me, even though he didn't know me, described him to a T, and it was weird. And the other night he said, I really feel like I need to talk to you on the phone. But I just wasn't in the mood, so I just pretended I didn't see the message. But I feel like sufficient healing has taken place with my mother, just in general, with her.
Yeah, it's really weird, because
to her life, with her, she doesn't, the regret has lifted, and the remorse, and and she's had a whole bunch of friends die. She's had like a whole bunch of friends die, in a whole bunch of different categories, and now like in a whole bunch of different categories in her life, she's like the last person standing. And think it's really been kind of a wake-up call for her, like that she needs to, coupled with the fact that, she's costing me $3,000 a month, is she getting $3,000 worth of life out of
the home?
She getting $3,000 worth of life out of her life. I think it's getting closer to the answer being no. I mean, her moving to this assisted living because she's really popular there, so she's really happy, and it's good. So I think there's just been a lot of healing, so that she can go if she does decide to go. It's totally her choice. When and whatever that she'll be able to let go. She won't be holding on because of remorse and regret and missed opportunities and feeling that she has to make up for lost time. So I think that's what you're sensing.
Well, I see a man that comes through the light, and I don't usually see death unless I can change it, and I'll see light come around them when somebody's coming to take them home. And I know that you have a lot of experience with that, and that you've helped people cross. My experience is much less than yours, but he actually circled like a Tuesday, like the word Tuesday. And, and I don't think that means this Tuesday, but I saw this light and I saw her take his hand. So I feel there's a lot of light around your mother right now. And I do get a sense of peace from her that I haven't felt before. And I get a sense of peace from you as well. And I see that the therapy.
Maybe that's why I got the urge to go to therapy, so that I would have a safety net in place, other than frickin' Facebook, which will only go so far.
Right.
So I have a safety net in place, when it occurs, whether it's,
I truly believe that, because he was very, and I don't know if it's your father or her father, very distinguished looking man, very neat.
Well, they're both distinguished looking, but it might have been her father, because very weirdly, now that she's run out of people to call, because a lot of the people, she loves to talk on the phone, and she has a lot of friends, and because her friends all like her. And she called this friend of hers that was actually, her parents divorced, and then he died like before she even got married. She was in college when he died, and she was talking a lot about. And she randomly called this guy, like her age, who his parents were her godparents, and like I never heard her talking about this guy before. I mean, I saw him in the Christmas card list, but I never heard her talking about him or anything. So it could be her father.
Okay, because I actually see he's like, the light looks like a big, I don't see it like a hallway, like some people say they see the light. To me, the light opens up and I see lots of people in the room to take her home, but he's the prominent figure. So
that's interesting. Yeah, that's
and he showed me a Tuesday, so I feel she'll pass either on a Tuesday or, take a turn, because sometimes the physical form hangs on for a couple of days, but the actual, because of your experience, that sometimes the soul or the spiritual side of us goes home before the physical body ends. But he was very adamant about showing me a Tuesday, and there's light all around her. I see many, many people there to take her home. So
that's interesting.
And maybe that is why the therapy comes in, because I was thinking, right when you said that, I was thinking that maybe the therapy is coming in for that. She seems very, very at peace. And like you said, they've moved her. She's happy. She wants to get back, but I see a very peaceful passing. So, but he actually showed me Tuesday, kept circling it. Like I do remote writing, when I'm doing the readings, and it's Tuesday. Like I can show you on here. It's Tuesday. So,
Interesting. Okay, well, let's let it go with that because now Tina's back and Rachel wanted a reading. So that was all very helpful.
okay. Well, thanks for calling in, Amy. I always enjoy talking to you. You've become a very good friend to me.
This was really this was interesting because it actually also helps with this. Since I am very intuitive, and suddenly I've gotten very consumed with this concept, this idea of my mother dying. That this just framed it in a more comforting setting. All of that.
Well, I really I'm very proud of you too. And you've been a very I'm very grateful for the support and everything that you've done for not only me but for a lot of people.
Kumbaya, my lord.
Anyway, nope, it's all good. It's all good. So let's see what Rachel. Enough about me.
Okay. So we're on to Rachel then.
Kumbaya.
Hey,
okay, thanks.
At least I'm being loving, Chris, because we all know that I can be a positive bitchy, right?
Kumbaya. Yeah. Where's Rachel now? Rachel had her mic all sorted, and now she doesn't. Ah, jeez.
She said she just lost you, Christ.
Be born again. Find me again. Rachel. Tell Rachel to hit the phone in upper middle. Redo your sound. Okay, let's get her. Hi, Rachel. Wait. Hi, Rachel. Wait. Rachel, unmute. Your mic is not working. Can you type your question in the chat? Okay, now you're muted and unmuted. But I mean, on your end, something's not right. Did you do the sound test? And did you hear yourself through your headset? Because there's a reason for that. I always go like, people go, no, I didn't. I'm like, well, then why did you say yes, you did? And so anyway, Rachel, try again and run the sound test. And you must hear yourself through your microphone. And if you don't, then say no. And then it will give you a choice to try another microphone. Okay? She's going to do that.
Okay.
And hopefully that will work. I'm just going to keep my eye. And Tina finally has sound. Nice of you to hear us now, Tina. Tina has sound and no mic. So did you say Tina was supposedly calling for a reading, or was she calling?
I don't know. There was a Tina that was on my Facebook page earlier. That was asking, and I put up that we were doing the show tonight. So
okay, good. Okay, Rachel still has no mic. Can someone, like, if Rachel could call with a telephone, that might work better for her tonight. I'm not sure. Rachel can hear again, but no microphone. Rachel, can you telephone or Skype in by any chance?
We'll
She's
put the
gonna.
number in.
Okay, Tina's trying to mic up. It looks like.
Okay. Well, I'll type in the number for Rachel here real quick. And then she can call in as well. So. Oh, there's somebody. And then.
If you call in, anybody who's calling in, just push the 1 and say hello. That you'll hear a little beep in your ear that'll tell you that you're unmuted. I don't see anybody yet. Nobody can figure it out, I guess.
Okay.
So sucks to be them. I don't know what to do to help anybody. You have to choose the right microphone. So if it's your webcam mic, that's fine or whatever. Preferably it's a headset. And it's a question of if you don't, you do the sound test. It tells you to speak a few words and do you hear your voice? And if you don't, then you say no. And then it'll give you a drop-down menu of other microphones to try, the other microphones that might be. Plus, there's a thing, depending on what browser you're in, you have to agree to share your mic. And so sometimes that's up in the browser, sometimes it's a pop-out window. And I don't think Rachel can hear a damn word I'm saying anyway, so I'm kind of wasting my breath.
She says she can't phone, so I don't know if Rachel wants to put the question in the...
She can't hear right now either.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I can just tell her what I...
Can someone type in the chat room, please, for her to just just choose listen only so she can hear us at least? Because I'm yakking on and on trying to help with instructions, but the person can't hear is kind of useless. Same with Tina. I don't know what Tina... It's not hard and it's not different than it was before, except for that before your system would have probably remembered your permission to share your mic. Depending on what browser you use, sometimes it goes up near the address bar, this thing that says, do you agree? And so it's not obvious to you that it's waiting for you to give permission to share the mic. And so Tina can now hear. Tina, can you just call Tina? Can you just call by any chance? Or type your question in the chat. And Rachel, you too. If it's not working for you.
Okay, so Rachel, type yes if you can hear us now.
Okay, she can hear it. I'm sure she can hear us because I see her headset.
She says, okay, I can listen.
Okay, so can you just type your question into the chat for Kathleen?
Okay. Let me just take a minute because like when Rachel was, let me do some writing here. I definitely see some stuff. Is it about some medical issues that your son's having? Looks like he's having some trouble with, I see it up in the head. Does it have something to do with medical? Does it have something to do with, okay. So let me tell you what I saw when we were trying to get you mic'd up. I saw there was a very strong male that was standing behind your son. And then I saw a very strong female from the other side that's helping you, that's standing behind you. I feel that long term, we're going to see your son with you more and more. Does your son live with you right now? Okay, so because they keep talking about there's some health issues that are going on. I'm not a medical intuitive. He's turning 18 on Monday. Okay, so they're showing me that he has some health issues going on right now. Now, when I say health issues, they show me that it's up here. And I do feel that he's, he's going on his own, but this man that's crossed over is watching him, and he keeps telling me to tell you that he's got this. He's going to be watching him. I know this is going to sound kind of rude, but he keeps telling me that your son's too pampered to be too far away from home, and he's showing me that he'll do actually pretty well. So I think that you have reason to be worried, but he's absolutely where he's supposed to be with his level of the stuff that he's got going on in the head. But it looks like he's going to do very well in this strong male. Is your dad passed? I'm sorry. I know this man comes across as his grandfather. So, okay. So is there a grandfather that's passed on him? Is that from his dad's side? He keeps saying he's his grandfather. Okay. So, and he says he watches over him, and he's showing me that he's going to do quite well. His anxiety is he's going from being a teenage boy to being a man, and nothing really prepares them for that. But he's showing me that he's got his back, and things are going to be really good for him. So I think that, and I'm trying not to. I'm repeating it the way this gentleman is saying it. So he keeps telling me he's too pampered to be too far from home. And you have to quit giving into the anger, because he says the anger is giving him too much power. And that's not the way the real world works. So quit apologizing because of the burden of guilt that you're carrying about leaving a relationship that's never been there. And he can't wrap his, the relationship with his father, you can be good parents and be a crappy couple. And he keeps saying, quit apologizing and quit explaining yourself, because your son hasn't had that type of relationship ever. So how can he wrap his brain around it? He's allowed to be angry. That's what you tell me, you're allowed to be angry at me. I made the right decision for all involved. And at some point you will see that. So that's what this gentleman's showing me. So that must be your grandfather, because he keeps saying his grandfather, but I don't see the shelves like other people do, like great-great-grandfather. I just see the word grandfather. Now, the woman that's around you, she actually shows me that she's been opening up a lot of your intuition lately, and she says you're ignoring her. You're being overwhelmed with it. And I think that you're transferring some of that with onto your son and the relationship with your son. I think you're getting a little too worried. If your son leaves to go live with his dad or do some of those things, he'll be back. But it's time for you to quit saying that you're sorry for making the best decision for all involved. So that's what they're showing me with that. Now, that being said, I know you didn't ask about this because they keep showing me there's some mental health issues. And if he has some anxiety, that would be the mental health issues that I'm seeing with that. So who's the dark-haired gentleman with the glasses? Who's living? The dark-haired gentleman with the glasses. This woman keeps showing me she sent you a dark-haired man with his grandfather again. Okay. So is he good to, is that from your side of the family or his dad's side? Okay. Because she shows me that he's actually going to, it's his dad's side. Okay. I actually feel that particular man with the dark hair and the glasses is actually going to help. I think there's going to be some interaction that will help bring reconnection between you and your son. Is there an Eddie? Is there an Eddie in the family? Okay. So I want to make note of that name. Make note of the name Eddie, please. Just write it down because I think that's a name that's coming in the future. but he does show me that, she shows me that there's a man with dark hair and glasses that are actually will be very good for him and will help him in his future as well. Like, I don't know if that means that he'll help pay for education or a trade, or will help, has this sense of patience with him that other people don't have. But I feel your whole relationship with your son's going to change over the next 6 to 7 months. But it's changing for the better. You need to quit saying you're sorry. Why do you keep telling him you're sorry? He's just respectful to you, but then, okay, so you didn't, okay. They keep telling me that you keep explaining yourself to him over and over again, and that gives him too much power. So, yeah, it's too long. It's too long of an explanation. You're expecting him to wrap his brain around something he's never experienced. So now it's short and sweet. I made the decision. It was the right decision for all involved. And at some point, you'll understand that. Quit giving into his anger. He's got to get a grip on his anger so he can do all right out in the real world. That's what they keep telling me. I really feel this gentleman with the dark hair and glasses is going to help do that. When you explain things, are we talking 20 minutes to 20 to 30 minutes? It's like you lose them after the first 5 sentences. That's what this woman keeps telling me. He's disrespectful like that at a job, he'll get fired. Okay. So quit explain yourself over and over again, expecting him to listen. If he's not going to listen, say, look, this is it, short and sweet. And then you take your power back. That's what this woman keeps telling me. So I don't know if there's a specific question you want answered with him, but they both give me the impression that even if he leaves, it'll be for a short time. He'll be back because he's going to realize that what he had when he was there, even if he doesn't move back, there'll be a pretty deep connection. I think your relationship with him is going to change over the next 7 months. I think you're scared of losing him altogether, and I think that's not what's going to happen. So you're not. So what's the question? Okay, so I don't think you're going to lose him. I think he's just finding himself, and kids don't know how to find themselves until they test the waters themselves. You know what I mean? It's like being in a canoe. The canoe always feels like it's going to tip, and if we're always stabilizing the canoe, they don't know how to get back in the canoe when it does tip. So they just keep showing me that there's going to be some changes. I feel like he's moving or going somewhere different. They tell me he's a little too pampered to not have his way. And you need to quit explaining yourself. So yeah, either he goes to the doctor or he sorts it out himself. He's a grown man. That doesn't mean you abandon him. It's just that at this point he's using you as his whipping post and he's using you as his life vest. So you can't have both. You have to pick one or the other, or you find this. You get up on the on the log and then use the life vest in conjunction with each other. Yes, but they keep giving me the impression that everything that's going on right now has to occur for your son to find his feet about him. So that's what I'm seeing. It's not pleasant to hear, but they show me he's too pampered to. I don't know how else to put it. They're like, he's too pampered to be homeless. He's too pampered not to have his way. He's a pampered man. So she keeps telling me that you need to start listening to your intuition for yourself as well as you do for others. And she shows me that you give a lot of advice to all the people around you, but you're not taking care of your own your own issues right now. So she's like, it's time to put everybody else on the back burner and put family first and yourself first. Once you start honoring yourself, everything else will fall into place. And she keeps telling me to tell you that. She says she's always popping into your head. It's almost like you're exhausted from trying to keep up with everybody else's expectations. And you're exhausted from that. You're exhausted from living up to your son's expectations. You're exhausted from living up to your parents' expectations. It's time for you to live up to your own expectations. What do you want for you? And start taking care of that. So it's like lead by example. You're telling your son you want him to have a happier, beautiful, connected life, but your actions are saying, but I don't deserve it. You deserve it, but I don't deserve it. So it's teach by action is what she keeps saying. So listen to your higher self. When your higher self says, when you say, okay, do I go left or right out of the driveway? If the first word that comes into your head is left, everything after left is bullshit. That's all ego. So it's time to start listening to yourself. I think your son's going to be okay. I just think he needs to be, he just needs to experience firsthand that life isn't as hard as he thinks it is when you have a little bit of a harder time. That's the way I'll put it. Who's Brandon? Is that a friend of yours? Who is Brandon? Okay. Is Braden passed, or is that somebody that's okay? So because they keep talking about him too. So if they're going, quit giving them money. He's a lot older. Okay. So I don't feel that he's okay. So I don't feel like he's a great influence, but I think that is something that your Ethan has to come to on his own. So we all have our own journey, and we all don't want our kids to suffer, but at the same time, we don't ever let them have that difficult journey that teaches them to pick themselves back up. So the man was saying his name. So is there a specific question you have about your son? I don't, I mean, I can give you, that's what I had. And without being able to converse back and forth, I mean, I get the impression that there's going to be, yeah. I don't know if he's going to be focused on his apprenticeship. He's 18 years old. I mean, sometimes people don't know what they want to do. Some of the most interesting people I know don't know what they're going to do still in their life, and they're in their 70s. So he's going to get somewhere in his life. If he doesn't, it's because everybody keeps bailing him out. So, I think he's smart. He's intelligent. He enjoys working. He just, when things don't go his way, he takes it out on you, and then you explain to him why things are the way they are instead of letting him learn by his mistakes. Like, the only way I know how to put it, it's like if he comes home and he's dying of thirst, and he pulls a cup out of the cupboard, and he fills it with orange juice, and he's drinking it down, and there's a hole in the cup, and the orange juice goes everywhere. He puts the cup down, but he's still dying of thirst. So he grabs another cup, he pours more orange juice, he's drinking that. In the meantime, you come in and you see the orange juice spilled all over, and you clean it up for him, and he's so grateful. He's like, thank you for cleaning it up. Oh my gosh, I was so thirsty. And you're like, yeah, I could see that. And, you've cleaned up all the sticky. You have a nice little conversation. He takes off with his friends. Everything's good. You put all the dishes in the dishwasher. They get clean. They go back in the cupboard. The next day, he comes back in thirsty again. He grabs the same cup with a hole in it, and immediately he starts cursing you. He's like, she didn't throw this cup away. She did this on purpose because she had to clean up my mess. She tricked me. He's bitching up a storm, but you don't come in this time. So he cleans up his own mess because there's orange juice everywhere. He's cursing you up and down while he's doing it. And here's the thing is, you thought he just spilled the orange juice. You didn't know there was a hole in that cup. It went back into circulation. And once he's cleaned up the mess with the hole in the cup, what does he do? The first thing he does is he throws away the cup because he's already had to clean up the mess once, right? He knows there's a hole in the cup. So that's what it's like. It's like if people keep cleaning up his mess and the cup never gets thrown out. But as soon as he has to clean up his own mess or pay his own way or learn that you can't just spout off when you're at work, because sometimes we just can't, he'll be okay. He'll get his feet about him. And that's what they keep saying. It's not that he hates you. It's not that he doesn't love you. And it's not that he doesn't appreciate you. It's that he thinks you keep putting the cup into circulation and he never told you there was a hole in the cup. Does that make sense the way I put it? Does that bring it back more into perspective? Okay, so quit comparing yourself to his mom's friends. It doesn't matter. These are your rules of the house. The rules of the house are this. So, okay. So then what's your question? I think he's going to find, I think he's 18. I think he's a kid. He's getting, well, I can't tap into his energy and read him without permission to get in his head. I can't do that. I mean, that's an ethic thing for me. So, I think you'll find his feet about him. I think he's 18. He's 18 years old, and yeah, I don't know. To me, it looks like he's going to have a successful future and everything. I think it might not be in the time frame you want, but it'll be in the right time frame for him. So that's what I think. That's what I'm being shown. So good news. You're welcome.
Awesome. Now, Tina, what's up with you? Can you guys tell me what's going on, why you can't get your mics working, or? In fact, hang on 2 seconds. Let me just end the recording part of the show, and then we'll go offline for that. So we're off tomorrow. It was too bad Corrine and them can't log in or whatever. It would have been nice to do a show with them on the road or whatever, but it is what it is. Friday, Selva's here. Saturday, Kimber is here. Sunday, Amy, the great Amy Kavanagh. Monday, Diana Monroe, and Tuesday is Lisa Nolan Chalosky. And isn't that strange? It could be that you need to set up your sound, set up your sound settings on your system or something, because the system here is working. Kathleen is in on her microphone, and I was in on my microphone earlier, so that part was working. And so I'm not quite sure. I think what it is that in some browsers, what browser are you using? Because in some browsers, as soon as you go to share your mic, it pops up a dialog box that you can't help but miss. And in some browsers, it's up near the address bar where it says, do you give permission to share your mic? If you can't get past that, then there's nothing doing, man. I wish sometimes that I could reach through and get my hands on other people's computer controls. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Hopefully that'll sort out for you in the future. The other thing is, do you have Skype? Because if you have Skype, you can do a free Skype call also. And so something. I don't know. Once you get it, you got it, though. You know what I mean? So, okay, well, so much for the idea of turning the recording off to deal with that. What's Tina's problem? Tina, what's your issue? Tina, are you listening? Hello, Tina. Okay, so what happened to you? So hang on. So thank you all the archive listeners and everything else we've got on with Salva. And stick with the Facebook pages, either IntuiTalks.com Facebook page or my Facebook page, and you will see the notices and the links and whatnot. Or just go to IntuiTalks.com website, and you'll see what shows are upcoming. So thank you very much.